All right, so welcome to lecture 24 of my classical Greek introductory course, which is also the last lecture in this series. Today, we are merely going to overview the paradigms for the following four athematic verbs. So this last lecture will be rather short. The verbs we are overviewing are aimi, I go, which you find on page 141, section 1236 in the Cambridge Grammar of Classical Greek. Then we have themi, I say, which you find in the same section in the grammar. Keimai, I lie, and deiknymi, I show. If we begin with aimi, we may note first that this verb is formally very similar to aimi in the meaning of to be in the first person singular. But the accentuation here is different with the circumflex on the first syllable instead of an acute accent. And actually the stem or stems from which the verbs are formed are different as well, since aimi, in the sense of I am, has the original stem s, while aimi, in the sense of I go, has the variant stems e and a. Anyway, on the right side of the screen, you see the paradigm of the present indicative for this verb. And you can compare this paradigm with aimi in the meaning of I am, which you see on the left side of the screen. Okay. Anyway, this is how this verb is inflected. So we have aimi in the first person singular, a in the second person singular, asin in the third person singular, and then imen in the first person plural, ite in the second person plural, and iasin in the third person plural. And yeah, you can note here that that the second person singular forms are identical in aimi in the sense of to be and aimi in the sense of go. And then if you look at the third person singular in on the right side, asin, you can note that this is was very close to the third person plural form of aimi in I am. So yeah, but then they can be distinguished from each other by looking at the accent. So it's on circumflex, as you can see in the on the right side, and then an acute accent on the last syllable on the left side. Anyway, this verb aimi in the meaning of I go is often used also in the meaning of I will go. So actually it often assumes the role of the future tense of the verb of erchomai, which also means I go, and which we've had before. So these verbs here are often have a futural sense. Okay. But here on the next PowerPoint, we have the present subjunctive forms of this verb, as well as the optatives, the imperatives and infinitives, and participles too. So you can contemplate these for a while, and maybe you can especially note how they compare to the corresponding forms of the verb in the sense of to be. So Here on the right side is aim in the sense of to be, or on the left side is aim in the sense of to be, and on the right side, aim in the sense of to go. Okay. Next in turn, we have the verb femi, I say, where we have the alternative stems fe and fa in the present indicative. And in the present indicative, all forms are here actually enclitic, except for the second person singular. That the forms are enclitic means, as we may remember, that they normally, that is when they form part of a sentence, lack an accent. But this is how this verb is inflected in the present indicative. So we have femi in the first person singular, fes in the second person singular, fesin in the third person singular, then we have famen in the first person plural, fate in the second person plural, and fasin in the third person plural. And the rest of these moods, or the rest of the moods of this verb, you can look up in the grammar on the previously mentioned page 141. Okay. But let's now turn to the third verb on our agenda today, which is keimai, I lie. Here the stem is k, and in the present indicative, we have here keimai in the first person singular, keisai in the second person singular, keitai in the third person singular, keimetha in the first person plural, keiste in the second person plural, and keintai in the third person plural. And this verb actually completely lacks the subjunctive and optative moods, but it does have the imperfect, the first person singular, of which is a keimen. What is worthy of notice is also that keimai is often used as a substitute for passive forms of tithemi, I place. Like for instance, in the phrase hoi nomoi keintai, the laws are given, which would be the passive correlate to tus nomus titheasin, they give the laws, with the third person plural active indicative form of tithemi, and tus nomus as the accusative object. Unfortunately, however, there is no good overview of keimai in the Cambridge grammar, but if you really long for one, you can find it on page 154, section 139 in Borneman's and Rich's German Griechische Grammatik, which I have here. So this was the favored grammar when I studied Greek myself. And in many ways, it's better than this Cambridge grammar, new Cambridge grammar, actually. So I can show it again if you're interested in acquiring it, maybe, or if you find it online somewhere, maybe a version of it. Okay. But time has now come for the last topic of today, which is the verb deiknymi. I show with the stem deikny in the present indicative. And in the present indicative active, this verb is inflected as follows. So we have here deiknymi in the first person singular, deiknys in the second person singular. Deiknysyn in the third person singular, deiknymen in the second person. Deiknymen in the first person plural, deiknyte in the second person plural, and deiknyasin in the third person plural. Okay, so that was the present indicative active inflection of this verb. Of course, deiknymi has a corresponding medial passive present indicative form or forms as well, but we won't go through these. Anyway, the first person singular of these forms is deiknymai, which means, or could mean I show myself, or if it's passive, I am shown. Okay. Finally, it can also be noted that in classical Greek, there is a bunch of other athematic verbs of this nymi ending type. For instance, keranymi and meignymi, which both mean I mix, and which are both inflected in the same way as deiknymi. Right, that was all the content we had on this last lecture, actually, but on the final PowerPoint, we can still overview the information that pertains to the upcoming second exam. So yeah, we will have basically the material that will be relevant for to study as a preparation for this exam is basically all the lectures that we had. All the content, all the grammar, and all the texts and all the vocabularies. Basically everything that we've gone through can be relevant to study, but I would suggest that you focus specifically on the vocabularies and paradigms. So actually, this is quite a good opportunity now that you have 3 weeks time before the exam to actually try to study as much vocabulary and memorize as much vocabulary as you have time for, and also as many paradigms as possible. Because if you like to continue studying Greek, like reading Greek text courses, maybe I will be offering, for instance, a Greek text course focusing on prose texts this summer. The more vocabulary you learn, the more paradigms you learn, the more enjoyable these kind of text courses will be for you. And this was actually, for me, it was the major takeaway in studying Greek, which made me really fall in love with classical Greek, and yeah, the whole subject of classics was exactly these text courses. When you were together in class and everyone already was familiar with the basics of the language, and then you sort of dug into these original Greek texts together. So it was very rewarding, and to this day it's very rewarding for me to read Greek, maybe thanks to the fact that I did commit quite a lot of time and effort the first years of my studies to actually memorize paradigms and vocabularies. So this is a good opportunity, and probably it's only in connection with a course like this that you actually will sit down and study vocabulary. So try to make use of these 3 weeks and at least dedicate 1 or 2 hours each day to rehearsing, and you will be rewarded. Anyway, yes, the time of the exam is Thursday, 28th of April. So approximately in 3 weeks' time, and you will need to register for the exam. So just send me a mail before Wednesday, the 27th of April. So basically the day before the actual exam is the deadline of registering. And I won't be sending out any reminders, so you just have to remember to register. And then, as with the last exam, there is no deadline for returning returning it, and you get a certificate once you pass both of these exams that are included in this course. And with this certificate, it should be possible, at least in some universities, in Scandinavian universities, I know it's possible, but I don't know how if the same applies, for instance, in British universities, but it should be possible to get credits also for completing this course, because this is a course which is equivalent to 15 credits introductory course at the university level. So if you like to continue studying Greek, for instance, at some university, you can use this certificate to get credits as well. So if you're interested in that, this is a good opportunity to get credits as well. Of course, you have to negotiate it with your home institution in that case. But anyway, I would like to thank all the participants very much for this edition of this classical Greek introductory course, and I hope that you have enjoyed it and gotten some kind of at least start to your Greek studies through this course. So hope to get as many registrations as possible, and hope to see you also in the future on some Greek courses, maybe. Thank you very much.